All right, awesome. I call this meeting to order at 7:08 p.m. Are there any changes or anything that needs to be changed for the agenda?
Strike ARC allocations.
Okay. Josh?
Could we please strike capital contingency and then contingency programming funding, please?
Evan?
Please strike.
All right, anyone else? All right. Can we get a motion to approve?
Can you strike class? I'm trying to promote myself with talent.
Wait, I'm sorry, is that one?
Yeah, that is.
Okay, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
second.
Wait, no, one. What did you want to strike? I could barely hear you.
That's a fact.
SFS. All right. All right, can we get a motion to approve?
I motion to approve this agenda.
Can we get a second?
I second.
Who's that? Who's seconding? I'm sorry.
Naomi.
Okay, Keon motions, Naomi seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. And by a vote of 9. I would vote in this instance, correct?
You don't need the quorum just counts for number of people present. The votes can total 9. That's fine.
Okay, awesome. By a vote of 9-0, the motion is approved and the agenda for this week is approved. All right, now for the minutes, hope everyone was able to review the minutes from last week's meeting. If not, please state any problems or changes that you may need regarding them. And yeah, does anyone, I see Keon, you got your hand raised?
My bad.
Okay, and then Juan, I see a hand raised for the main screen. Is that you? Okay, no problem. All right, can we get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes from last week.
I second.
Naomi motions, Keon seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. And by a vote of 9-0, the motion passes and the minutes for this week for last week's meeting is approved. All right, now we'll open the floor for public comment. Public comment is a time for individuals to come from the association and share any questions, concerns, or comments they may have. Do we have anyone in person that would like to give public comment?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know who they're recognized.
Okay, cool. Hi, Sarah from Calgary. I'm going to give our complete update on stuff we've been up to. I know you guys are election soon. We actually elected our UCLA Calgary board yesterday. So we have, we have a lot of new board members and officers that we're super excited about, and we're gonna have a really exciting fall, and I'm so proud of all of them. They're all super talented. Also on Sunday is our statewide Calgary board meeting. Calgary student has a all student and like youth-based board of directors, which is pretty unique even among like youth nonprofits to like not have like adults on the board. And so that's really special because it means we are the ones that get to make all the decisions about where the organization is going and the issues that we work on. So on Sunday, we will do a bunch of things. We're going to approve our budget. We're going to decide our leave campaign for the fall. So all the things that like all of the chapters across the state will work on. And we'll also elect our executive committee, which is sort of like the board of the board. And yeah, that's what we're doing right now. A lot of prep for next year, and yeah, it's super exciting. I'm very excited for next year. I think it's gonna be awesome. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck, guys.
Thank you so much. Milan, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I'm just here on behalf of OSAC, if they could make a quick public comment.
Are you gonna be speaking for him, or is it
Yeah, I'll
someone?
speak for them. I have a
Oh, yeah.
message real quick. Yeah. Sorry, I can't stay for long, but I have a proxy here. But for OSAC, they said, good evening. OSAC has been working to ensure that the office spaces at Kirkhoff are meeting students' needs. A form has been created to monitor and communicate people's office needs and maintenance, and you can find it here, and I'll drop it in the chat. If your organization is in need of assistance, or if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out via email or through Instagram at OSAC UCLA. We will continue to review each response and see how we can better accommodate students and student organizations. So that's just a message from OSAC, just to make sure that they know your student needs, because we all have offices in Kirkhoff. Please fill out the form if you have any like suggestions or issues. But yeah, that should be all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. It looks like there's no one else for public comment. So we'll be closing public comment at 7:14 p.m. All right, now we'll get into funding. We'll go straight into SWC programming fund allocations.
SWC allocated $0 to 0 SWC groups and $706 to 3 non-SWC groups.
Thank you. Oh, that's true. That's okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that. All right. Thank you. And that is a consent item. We will skip straight down to IVP partnership fund allocations because that is a voting item. So let's go to that. Oh, did she leave already? Freak. Wait, I think I can vote when it's like there needs to be a 2/3 majority, right?
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was the question?
I can vote when it's like we need to make a 2/3 majority or a 3/4 majority, correct? Or something like that.
Don't believe so.
Oh, yeah, because we lost quorum. We don't have quorum anymore.
Against the chair, yeah. Yeah, so you won't be able to vote on anything unless someone picks up that. And do that, but you're welcome to discuss anything on the agenda. I can lead you in that way. So be careful.
Okay. All right, we'll try to get someone else in here to do a quick vote. Let's just go through. Okay, so thank you so much. Who's that? Becca, thank you so much. SWC program fund allocations is a consent item, so if there's no objections, it is approved. Bruin advocacy grant, Evan.
Sorry, I asked you straight.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Oh, I asked you straight back.
Oh, it's supposed to be okay. It's supposed to be struck. All right, we'll go straight into ASRF allocations. Who is here on behalf of Daniela? Anyone? All right. I guess we'll skip ASRF allocations and ASC travel mini grant allocations. So we'll go straight into TGIF.
TGIF Week 2 mini fund allocations are $3,752.38 for 6 new non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity.
Thank you. That is a consent item, and so if there are no objections, then it is approved. All right, for IVP partnership fund allocations, I know we have I'm pretty sure we have a proxy, but we can't vote on it because we don't have quorum anymore. So we'll have to just table that till next week. Megan, is that okay? Is there anything urgent that needed to be voted in?
I do not have that information. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, now we'll go into special presentations. Anna's here, elections board, elections ballot.
Hi, everybody. So like I mentioned a little bit ago, I don't know if everybody was here, but I am here to present the ballot that we will be using this week, from May 5th to May 12th. Super exciting time. And yeah, I'm just gonna share my screen if I have the permission. Oh, wait, let's see. Okay, I'm seeing host disabled participant screen sharing.
I think that we can give you access to screen share.
Oh, I lost host when Milan left.
Is it, Megan, do you have host now?
I believe I do, and I think you should be able to share.
I'm still seeing no.
Let me see if I can make you a co-host.
Megan, could you
Okay.
make us co-host while you're at it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Here we go. All right, so I'm just gonna share the desktop. Okay. So we can start at the top. Yeah, so this is gonna be like just like you guys were all elected on. I'm just gonna scroll. I guess a little context. As I'm sure you all know, the names will be randomized per ballot. So if you just like this is just one sample ballot, the names aren't going to be in the same order. The offices will be in the same order, but the names aren't. Sorry, Eliana, do you have a hand raised?
I was just wondering if we could sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering if we could do a quick vote while Alicia's here, because I know she left to go to an important event.
Yes, thank you so much. Anna, we're gonna put you on pause for like 2 seconds.
Sure.
We're gonna vote on IVP partnership fund allocations. Megan, do you have the numbers for this week for IVP partnership fund allocations or no?
No, I was not given the numbers. I
Okay.
can text Milan.
Okay, text her. We're gonna move to, should we just jump to the resolution real quick?
I guess I'll just see if is this the one Alicia and I have?
Gio, you got your hand raised?
Sorry, my bad. I thought I had to be promoted again.
Okay, no problem.
I guess I'll probably just see if anyone here could set up that meeting with infectious disease management team. If not, I'll just email them myself and then we can move ahead with this, I think.
Okay, so you still haven't been able to meet with them?
Not so far, no.
Yeah, Naomi?
Yeah, after Tara left, I don't think we have quorum anymore, even with Alicia added. So I just wanted to bring that up.
All right. Well, man, okay. What we'll do, Jonathan, you said, I don't know if that 720 rule still applies, but it just seems like there's not a lot of people here and a lot of people didn't give confirmations or send a proxy or anything like that. So should we just like adjourn this after we go through the elections ballot?
720 thing is just to start the meeting. Since you all got quorum and started the meeting, you're welcome to continue through the agenda. You just can't vote on anything. So you're welcome to do your officer reports. You're welcome to discuss the discussion items, but you just can't vote on anything.
Okay, this will just be a quick meeting then. All right, so I'm sorry, Anna, you have the floor again.
No worries, thank you. I'm gonna start sharing again. All right, yeah. So like I was saying before, the names will be randomized per ballot, but the offices won't. So I'm just gonna scroll and feel free to jump in if you want to revisit anything, but 11 gen rep candidates. Crazy. All right, and then at the bottom here, we have the referendum, and then each ballot will have a link to the supplemental language that was approved by UCOP. Let me see if I click on this now. Let's see if it'll. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is what a voter would see if they clicked on that link. And a voter can read all of this. Yep. So that's the ballot.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions regarding this? All right.
Oh, wait, I had a quick thought. This is not maybe something that we would like think about for this year's ballot, but I know that like a lot of folks like don't know that they can just like they don't have to vote for every single thing. Like maybe that's something like we could like say in other elections, because I know like last year a lot of people like they didn't want to like vote for some like ballot items, but then they ended up like not voting at all because they thought they had to choose something for everybody.
Yeah, that's something we can keep in mind. I know that, you know, like it was last year, you could, none of these are like required, so you could turn it in without filling it out. All that's like required is like the UID login and like MFA and stuff, just to make sure that they're like an eligible voter. But yeah, that's something we could keep in mind.
Also, one quick question. On the top, it says click plus for more info. Is that
Yes.
only for the bottom? Is that only for the referendum?
No, so I believe that each name is going to have a plus next to it, and that will be a link to each candidate's candidate statement if they gave us one. That just wasn't ready yet and for this presentation, but our SAIT guy is working on that right now. But yeah, each candidate that's provided us a statement should have one next to their name.
And what about endorsements? Will that also be on there?
I would have to double check. I know that endorsements is going to be like in our voter guide that we provide to voters that has the ballot in it. But I can double check with our SAIT guy.
Thank you.
Good.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Okay. We don't have any appointments for tonight, so now we'll get into officer reports. I'm sorry, someone's knocking on the door. Give me like 2 seconds, y'all. All right, I'm back. Okay, so for this week, we pretty much just kind of wrapped up a lot of the initiatives that we wait, is someone saying anything? Okay, never mind. Yeah, we kind of just wrapped up some of the initiatives that we've been working on. So in regards to just kind of transferring the funds over to the right facilities for the monies that we got for the from surplus. So that's mainly what we've been focusing on. Also, you know, just paying my directors, making sure that we fill out that paperwork. I would recommend everyone start that paperwork now, because a lot of times individuals from the offices don't get paid because officers forget to fill out the paperwork, and then that money just like goes back to surplus. So please make sure that you're paying your directors or, you know, your officers or whoever in your office. And I got a meeting with the chancellor and vice chancellor Gordon. So that's pretty much it. Pretty short week. I know everyone's busy with midterm, so you know I'll be quick. We got a lot of written reports. I do have to leave a little bit early. I have something to go take care of, so that means that it will be passed to Keon. You will be leading the meeting. You got it?
Love that.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Oh, okay then. All right, so let's see what else is on the agenda. This is not expected. So next is IVP who has a written report, and then EVP. Is anyone giving a report for EVP?
Yeah,
All right, please.
Okay, happily. Yeah, so a quick update on what the bound's been doing. So we had our last round of bag applications. That was done last Wednesday through Friday. We had 12 organizations apply. She also went to Oakland. She met with President Drake and other UC EVPs to discuss campus-related issues. We also are prepping right now for our DC lobbying trip. It's very exciting. We're able to get some pretty cool meetings with some pretty high people, including Senator Feinstein. So it's going to be exciting to actually person. We also have the UCSA board meeting, which is this weekend in Santa Cruz, and then there are also the UC or the student region interviews. For the Northwest Neighborhood Council, just a reminder for everybody that the election is this Thursday. It takes place from 12 to 6. It's in the Ackerman Viewpoint Room. Anyone can vote if you have a campus relation, so you don't have to live here as long as you're a stakeholder. You don't need an ID as long as you have like a statement of affirmation. You're allowed to vote. And then we also have local relations team. They just met yesterday with Congressman Ted. They're discussing the Spokane transit corridor and being advocate for Bruins. We have heavy rail in the station at UCLA.
Thank you. Okay, so I have a written report, but I just want to say one thing. Tomorrow, my office has a stress relief, like from midterms. We'll be handing out stress toys, stress balls, stickers, some snacks from 9:30 to 10:30 on Bruin Plaza, and then we'll be moving on to Bruin Walk, just so students can have, something to look forward to and something to like relieve the stress during this season. And then next we can pass it off to Gen Rep 2 is written, Gen Rep 3, Eliana.
Thank you, Kian. So we have, I think it'll be May 24, 4 p.m. in the Cathars conference room. Me, Tyra in her office, and Alicia in her office, and Ride are going to be doing an event about the internet. How does it affect our well-being? What can we do about it? There'll be like poetry, but courtesy of cultural affairs and interesting stuff. Should be fun. Also talking with Dr. Jasmine Hill, who used to be our president and is now professor here, about having like a alumni network, and also just trying to finalize micro grants, surplus funding. Love y'all.
Thank you, Eliana. Next, we have Campus Events Commissioner, Gio.
Hi, everyone. Just want to shout out, we had our Hammer Arts Party last Friday with BJ the Chicago Kid and Cruza. It was a huge success. I think we had like over 3,000 people attend. So we were really happy about that. And then we just had an event yesterday with Hip Hop Congress and SWC. It was G Herbo in conversation with Jessica Schwartz, a professor, and it was kind of like a mental health conversation. I think we had like over 250 or 300 people come. So that was super good. And yeah, we have just like a lot more events coming up. We have a film screening of Rango tomorrow night on Westcom Terrace. And then we have a concert from 12 to 1 on Thursday. And then Ultra Bloom, which is like our annual electronic concert, will be on May 25th. So just save the date for that. But that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Gio. I wasn't able to come to the Hammer Museum on Friday night, but I heard great things. Who's next? We have community service.
Hi everyone, so for CFP, I want to first start off by pushing our Instagram to get an update about CFP. We have our Michael, Robert S. Michael Award, which is the $1,000 scholarship available to undergraduate leaders here at UCLA. This is an opportunity for anyone who is doing community service work and leadership in the community to receive an award for your work. So please apply and share out this opportunity to everyone you know. It's for anyone who is a third year and under or returning for the next academic year. we push out the college opportunity as far and wide as possible. The next thing that I'd like to share is that we currently are planning a community service summit for June 2nd, which is a Friday. And this will be an opportunity for community service organization here at UCLA, both province under CSP and outside of the community, to get together, talk about service, showcase our work that we've done for this year, and really start to have on like what community service can look like and what we've learned from the year of transitioning from COVID to now to like a fully in person for an entire year. So it's going to be an opportunity. We all look forward to our next conference about it. The next thing that I would like to share is that last week we did our youth empowerment town hall, and thank you, Naomi, for showing up. You were one of the few council members that attended. Thank you, Anna, from SMU Cultural Office. This was an amazing opportunity to have a turnout for a bunch of projects, talk about building partnerships, solidarity, sharing services, in light of the lack of maybe funding, lack of institutional support. So we're going to be more elaborate report for you all on what we're doing from the last two town halls that Community Service Commission has facilitated. So I look forward to all your council should partner with the Community Service Commission to help these town halls to learn more about the needs of student organizers here at UCLA and making this it's like a more long term, not just something that falls on my
Thank you. Next, we got Facilities Commissioner.
Heyo. Okay, so this week, in the Facilities Commission, we already are starting hiring for our sustainable directors for next year, just because the partnership with UCLA Dining needs to be retained year to year. So kind of doing that in advance. And we got 13 applicants, which is cool. Our Environmental Justice Now Committee had an event last week with Cambodian workers in partnership with UCLA Labor Studies. We had around 40 people come to the event, and they drafted letters that they dropped off at Murphy Hall about labor rights and ethics in terms of procurement at UCLA. And then our Bruin Bazaar Committee has their student vendor fair on May 15th from 12 to 3 p.m. in Bruin Plaza. We'll have, I don't know the exact number of student vendors, but definitely more than 10. So it'll be a pretty large event in Bruin Plaza. Our Building Our Space Committee secured Poly Pavilion for the study nights this quarter. I believe it will be during finals week, but we'll have more information coming soon about that. And then our MetaMap project got some data from the UCLA Space Inventory on some bathroom accessibility data. There's limited amount of information there, but they're going to integrate it into the larger UCLA map after they clean out some of this MetaMap stuff. There's a meeting that I have with Bruin Access Van on Wednesday on how we can better promote outreach to students, so students know when they're expanding hours of operations and stuff like that. And then I had a meeting with Vice Chancellor Gordon last week, and some of the things that we talked were the Student Activity Center Board of Governors and ensuring that they meet still, even if GSA doesn't provide appointments or there's no quorum, so that students can still bring up their concerns at those meetings. And through that, we also talked a little bit about the Disability Cultural Center, which I might ask folks for more advice on later in the meeting under that discussion item. But we're trying to still figure out spaces for that and how we can go about making that space on campus. And I also asked briefly about a prayer space. And this is a project that MSA has been working on with AVC McDeluca for a while too. I think we confirmed that there were some locations on the Hill, and they're working on having locations in Woodin, but VC Gordon also said that they received a grant from University Religious Conference to see if we can find some semi-permanent outdoor space near the southeast corner of Ackerman. I think somewhat related to like the loading dock, but just trying to see if we can have like a more permanentized like on-campus space like that has like shade and shelter. But I think there's still a lot of discussion to be had there. And then the last thing that I'll talk about is with the transit referendum, there's also this tap card design contest where we solicited artists for UCLA students to design the next tap card. You guys are so special because you're the first people I'm sending this Google form to. So if you click into the Google form, you can choose what you would like to see as your next tap card. But I mean, obviously only if like, the referendum ends up happening, but yes, choose, at least look at the art, you guys. It's a very cool, very talented. Voting for this like design contest closes on Friday so that we don't like, interfere with the elections voting and the campaigning about that. So yeah, tell your friends, tell everybody that wants a cool tap card to vote in this little design contest poll. Oh, I'm also doing the report for Sarah, so I can do that
Please.
next. Yeah, cool. Sarah says that she's buying more lab coats, that they should be signing the New York Times a contract this week, but they had to do some editing, so that's like some of the delays there. They're planning a food insecurity event next week, and they're also making a banner for the New York Times subscription, just to do more advertising and publicity so students know about it. They still are continuing outreach for businesses in Westwood to see what kind of discounts we can get for students. And they talk to student affairs to see if there's more funding that we could add to the commuter parking permits. Yeah, and they also met with commuter students on that to see like what people's needs are and how we can work with them to advocate for everyone to get those parking passes.
Thank you. So next is transfer student representatives. Tyra. Tyra.
Sorry.
Thank you.
My bad. Hi everyone. I hope you're all having a great start to the week and that y'all are having good midterms. Good luck on your midterms. So for me, I've been really busy lately. There's a lot going on. It's kind of hectic. But over the last couple of weeks, I did sponsor Umoja and the the Black Bins Student Association. They had the first ever Black Queer Fair at Ackerman Grand Ballroom, and that was really successful. It was really great, and a lot of students were happy with the turnout. I'm hoping we can do it again next year because we weren't able to get the more like STEM focused fields. And so I'm really happy that we hosted that. I did also sponsor CClear's Career Alumni Conference, which was this past weekend, and that was such a joy to go to. This is like my first time seeing the CClear staff, and they're really creative. Like they had like Studio Ghibli themed presentations and like Animal Crossing. It was really cute. We did a lot of skits, and so that was really nice. And they were really affirming, so they were happy that I was able to provide funding. This weekend, I also went to Ideas Family Day, and I got to meet Jeffrey in person for the first time. So that was a joy. We were eating pupusas and drinking nectar, and we were at the 580 Cafe, and it was just a vibe. Like there's little girls there singing. It was really cute. That same day, actually, all these events were on the same day. I went to 3 events on Saturday. It was crazy. But Mecha also had their Latinx youth conference, and that was a joy as well. They had Aztec dancers there. They also had different workshops. One of my friends from AOC, Reggie, who gave the presentation, he was giving one on Afro-Latinx histories and solidarity. So that was really cool. I'm working to finalize Transfer Unity Week, and so that should be on Instagram everywhere soon. I hope that y'all all support and spread to your delegations, your respective populations that you serve. My staff has also started posting our staff highlights on Instagram. So if y'all are curious to know who is working in my office this quarter, you can go look on the Instagram. I've also been working with the Armenian Student Association to kind of like work on a pilot like transfer weekend, similar to what the other mother orgs have. So it'll be a transfer networking and resource fair. It was supposed to be next week, but we started planning kind of late. So we're going to push the date back a little bit. Really excited for that. I'm also working with ASU and the Berean Garden Scholars to have a foster youth awareness picnic for Foster Awareness Month. I am also a former foster youth, so this is really important to me. And I hope that you are all doing whatever you can to support foster youth this month. I also did go to the HSI town hall, which was really cool to like hear. I was able to speak on behalf of like supporting transfers in this upcoming center and how the Black community can also be in communion with the Latinx population as we ask for these different needs that the institution has to meet. So that was really lovely. There's something else I forgot, but I feel like that was a long report anyway, so I'll let y'all go.
Thank you. Next, we got admin reps.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Just a quick update. Again, some of you may have been receiving some emails from me about past requirements for re-registration. If you have any questions, please just reach out to me. I have worked with a couple of you. Yeah, if you have any questions on either your current organization or any other organizations you belong to, but haven't fulfilled the requirement, yeah, just hit me up via email. Okay, that's all I have, Keon.
Thank you. Are there any other admin reps that would like to give an update?
A couple quick just event updates for you all. So coming up this week, tomorrow actually we have Wellness Wednesday canvas painting in Bruin Phantom and Cafe Synapse. And then we also have coming on Thursday another New Tunes concert, co-programming with CEC. And then the last thing I want to mention that I'm really excited about, and I hope you all take a minute to go stop by the Kirkhoff Art Gallery. Our art in the Union is finally displayed in the art gallery. So, you know, I've talked about the program a little bit before. We're partnering with CAC to make this happen, but essentially it's all student commissioned artwork. And there's gonna be a judging period from a panel of judges, and we'll be selecting 3 winners who will get $600 for their artwork, and we'll hang it somewhere in the state union. So really amazing artwork, all different kinds of mediums, just all different kinds of services. So please get a chance to try or take a peek at that. It looks really great. And also going to be doing a reception for that on May 11th. I think it's 11th. If you're free, I'll be supporting that most likely.
Thank you, Jessica. Tyra, is your hand up?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Jessica because I've been trying to get my staff all hired, and one of my chief of staff reached out to ask you about the leftover funds from Teddy's term because you let me know that there was around $5,000 left over, and I was going to use Phoebe's and the rest of everybody's proposal for the surplus funds for 6 officers and then pay the rest using the leftover office funds. And so I emailed that to you, but I never got an answer back.
I think that I responded to the student that reached out, but yeah, you can use the available funds for stipends. If you're trying to hire and pay stipend, we'll just need to do a budget transfer to move the funds from programming to assistance, but that's really easy and SGA can do the paperwork for you, so you just have to sign it. But yeah, you have that money available as well to use.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Tyra, is that it for admin reps?
Yeah, well, as far as Lori goes, she's out sick right now, so and she doesn't have any updates.
Thank you. We wish her the best. And then next we have old business, so resolution. So Eliana, are we still talking about your resolution?
I think unless anyone wants to sponsor it, awesome. Otherwise, we'll probably just table it. And if anyone here can help us get in touch with infectious disease management team, well, I would appreciate that a lot.
Got it. Juan?
Yeah, could I go quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so updates on my end, the same as last week, same as the week before. We're still waiting on transition documents from every single council member. And I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed after last week that like not a single person that's still submitted. I know our staff is running out of time essentially to put these things together before the next council comes in. And I know last week Eliana recommended that we like withhold nameplates or something of that sort. And so we are going to, all of you get graduation boards once you're done here, regardless if you're graduating or not for when you graduate. And so we will be holding those boards until we receive transition documents from you. We think that's only fair at this point. If you have any questions or concerns on how to fill out the form, or your ability to fill out the form, please reach out to me directly and we can work something out. But yeah, where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll definitely get on that. So Eliana, if anyways, we can't even table it because we don't have quorum. So is it okay if we go to the next?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So Phoebe on Disability Cultural Center.
Yeah, and I guess Eliana might have like other, she like DM'd me like telling me about like another plan like for the Disability Cultural Center, but I met with Vice Chancellor Gordon last week and ABC Seplo to talk about what can be done for Disability Cultural Center. I don't know if like some of y'all knew, but last school year, people in the Facilities Commission office and I think DSU as well worked with GSA to see if they could get a room in Kirkhoff, like near the basement, because it was a wheelchair accessible room and was like an on-campus like place so that like students could gather. And this cultural center would have like things like disability peer mentoring program, meeting space for students with disabilities, just like a place for like folks to connect and like get resources. And yeah, unfortunately, I did do like a couple email chains with the GSA president before she retired from office, and now like everyone in GSA is new because the elections happened during week 3, I think. And they said that GSA only has like 2 spaces in Kirkhoff, and like one of them is used as some sort of like lounge for like any graduate students to come in, and then the other one is like actually their office space. So like I guess like understanding that and like limited space for like grad students in Kirkhoff, I talked to Monroe about it and just asked like if student affairs had any other space. They said like eventually the student activity center might end up getting more space because they're like moving things around. Perhaps the student activity center board of governors, which is a group that I appoint to, might also be involved in seeing like whether or not there might be space in the future. But at the moment, it seems like there's only spaces on the Hill, which like isn't always like the most accessible. But regardless, Seppi and Spencer, who's the director of CAE, are doing a walkthrough tour, I think like mid-May, like around the 16th, to see like what spaces on the Hill could be used for a disability cultural center, and also like CAE testing. So like 2 separate spaces for that. And I guess I just wanted to hear like if anybody had any like thoughts on like, I guess like how to conduct outreach and like help facilitate the creation of a space, because like it's nice that like there's a space basically available for as long as we might want on the Hill. But they still want to know like details about like what like this cultural center might be used for, like who like the intended audience is. And like I do have connections to DSU, but like it's still like a very small group out of like all of the students with disabilities that are on our campus. So yeah, I just wanted to hear if anybody had any thoughts or advice or connections that I could perhaps lean into, because I figured that everyone should be part of the conversation.
Thank you, Phoebe. You're awesome. So a few things. First of all, probably SDAE. Maybe they could send out an email, but I think they don't like to send out a lot of emails to like their whole email list of students who are getting accommodations, but they would probably post something on Instagram, probably ask the disability computing program as well and disability studies. Send me a message or something if you want help. I know Spencer from CAE. I know with this, someone know the disability studies professor. So if you want help with that, I can connect you. Also, I was talking with Alicia, and she's working on having a community center on campus, and we're interested in that, helping to be like a home for like the Disability Cultural Center once it's created, so we can have something on campus. So I guess I'll add you to that conversation, because anyhow, this is exciting that this is going to happen, even if you won't have a space on campus. It's really beautiful to see.
Sure. What is the general timeline for this like community center platform?
I'm not sure, because it's probably the kind of thing that I feel like there might be a lot of barriers beyond what USAC can control, but probably she'd be hoping to do it next year.
Like as in like a place would be set up, or like people are going to do like the primary work to forward this project next year?
That's a good question. I imagine she's been working on it, because so that's actually a very good question, because I don't know. This is one of those long range sorts of things that might get. So I'll check in with everyone.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Eliana. Yeah, I
Pleasure.
believe. Oh, sorry.
No,
For
go
the
ahead.
Okay, thank you. For the context of this space, I believe since it's already set up, it could launch as early as next school year. So like that's like kind of the concern that like I guess like the extent of like waiting versus not waiting to have like this sort of like space on the hill set up. Because like if we wanted something long-term on campus, that would require like more time, I think. But then like, like to set something up on the hill and then transition back to campus later on could also be complicated. But also like if other folks like have information, like I guess like about like, like the Transfer Student Center or the Blackburn Resource Center, and like I guess like the histories of how these spaces like got like set up, that would be helpful too. Just because like I don't really know very much about what it takes to like set up like a whole like community hub / resource center.
Does anyone have any information on that by any chance?
For the BBRC, it was advocated for by ASU. It kind of started off to be a student-run thing, but of course, like it's kind of problematic to be having students run an entire center that's to cater to other students as students themselves. So it kind of merged into what it is now, and now it has like a director position over it. In terms of like finding a location and setting it up, UCLA wasn't really initially open to having the BBRC, so that's why we're kind of in the basement of Kirchhoff Hall. And Ileana, I don't know how it worked to like find the actual space, but I believe it was like ASUCLA who ASU reached out to find that space. The director found like all the different furniture and stuff, so she was the person who like got all of that. She also asked a bunch of like alumni and different people if they would just donate some of the things to the center. So like a lot of our furniture, like you've been in there, like some of the white like cabinet things, those were all donated. Some of the TVs were donated. So it's kind of just a mixture of just like utilizing institutional resources and then also getting donations from outside of UCLA.
For sure. Thanks, Tara. That helps provide context. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was all for that agenda item. I was just curious if like people wanted to be more involved or like had thoughts on, creating this sort of center, just because like it is like a very like larger infrastructural project for like like a priority community on campus. But yeah, thanks everyone for giving me this time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Phoebe. And then we have a discussion on student feedback regarding the election board. Phoebe, you want to start it off?
Yeah, definitely. Would it be cool if we just promote a couple of the folks like in the meeting like as panelists, because I think they'll probably like help like discuss the feedback. It's Jeff, Bella, Crystal, and Nalaya. Basically like working on the transit referendum. I noticed like a couple of things where like, like the policies do seem to like I guess like treat like referendum and candidates like similarly in some ways and not similarly in other ways. And I think that the code has been like a little more confusing to navigate than like I had imagined. So these are just like ideas, like items and feedback for like perhaps like even if it can't be implemented for this election, like it being pretty important to implement at least like sorry for the next election. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking on this because I don't have as much of the details and like my voice is kind of dying out. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Jeff, and if you're able to promote the other folks too in case they want to also chime in.
Yeah, thank you, Phoebe, and good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well with midterms, all of that busy stuff. Yeah. Can I share my screen? Because I have like some things I want to share on the screen.
Yeah, can I give them access, please? Does it let you?
Still not yet.
There it is.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. Everyone see my slides okay? There it is. All right. Yeah, and yeah, thank you so much, Phoebe and Council, for giving us some time and space to voice some of our thoughts and concerns surrounding the elections process and the elections code. I know it's a stressful process for everyone involved, for candidates, for us as the transit referendum campaign, and for the elections board, and all of us are working hard to make this election a success and get students engaged. And so as the campaign representative for the transit referendum, I wanted to take some space during this meeting to work through some of the challenges and roadblocks that we specifically as the referendum campaign have had. And some concerns that we feel that we have faced that candidates, that normal USAC candidates don't really face, that we feel have hindered our ability to raise awareness about this referendum and the election. First, I want to discuss the graphics approval process. This was back when campaigning just started. We wanted to get some slides approved, and I believe it took like 3 to 5 tries to finally get it right. And most of the feedback was surrounding the elections board logo. I think first, the elections board wanted us to use the approved logo, the one with the approved in the logo, as opposed to just the regular elections board logo, even though it was also like placed in the same folder as the approved logo, which created confusion for our team. And then I think we went back and forth a couple of times on the actual like placement of the logo. We didn't know it had to be put on every slide. And there was a lot of subjectivity in terms of how big the logo needed to be. And that led to like some confusion and a lot of frustration on our end as we had to keep going back and forth with elections board, just pertaining to this one logo. I think lately it's been good, but I just wanted to raise that as an issue, as it was a point of a lot of stress for us, especially at the beginning of the campaign. Regarding class and club presentations, we reached out to elections board to like gain some clarity on what we can and cannot say in like classroom and club settings. So one of our team members, Cora, sent over proposed script, just briefly mentioning that there is a $3.30 fee on the ballot, and reminding people to vote. We understood very well that the elections code doesn't allow referendum campaigns or any candidates to explicitly say, vote for me or vote yes on this initiative. And we have tried to work around that requirement. That being said, elections board got back to us with this much slimmed down, watered down script that removed any mention that there is a transit referendum ballot on the ballot, and simply limiting what we could say to just please vote in the election on my UCLA, and with the required disclaimer. Look, I guess the language is clear that active campaigning isn't allowed. I guess I'm not sure I agree with that sentiment, especially since this is a student election. But that being said, even working within the confines of this language, like I'm not sure that simply mentioning that all students will be voting on this transit referendum on the ballot is the same as trying to give ourselves an inherent advantage. Like this is simply just informing voters about like just what they will be voting on. It's not like even what we proposed isn't like going into benefits or like why we should vote for us. And I think students deserve to know like what will be on the ballot, what policies will be affecting them. And I'm not sure that really falls into this bucket of campaigning. And I see Evan messaged me, he wanted to jump in really quickly. So I'll hand it off to him for a bit.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much, Jeff. Great presentation so far. And just thank you for all your time that you put into the transit referendum. I know you worked really hard. But for me, this just kind of immediately jumps out as very concerning because, as a student, it's our job to educate people and know what they're voting on. I think that when it comes to education, when it becomes just knowledge, I think that's absolutely critical that we get to the student body. I think the fact that we can't even, or that you were not able to present the objective information that is about the transit referendum, even just reading off what's going to be on the ballot, I don't understand how to be a non-neutral position, considering, every student eventually will be looking at that ballot, they will be knowing, what they're voting on. I think the other issue too is, obviously with the referendum, you do have to get that 20% margin in order for the referendum to pass. I think it can be really difficult. It's a really hard expectation to say that you're going to have to go around to these classrooms and you're presenting, telling people to vote, but you're not even telling people what's on the ballot. The reason why you do need to be out there is why it is so high turnout this year. It's because of this $3.30 transit referendum. So I think that's just some of my concerns that I have with this. It seems like we're kind of withdrawing crucial information that students deserve to know. And I'm sure at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything to help our voter turnout, which has been very low in the past. So I think that Jeff is making some very, very pertinent points right now. It's really quite hard with these rules and regulations in place to get the required turnout to make this referendum happen.
Eliana, do we mind if we let Jeff finish the presentation and then we comment?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. And I guess similar to the previous concern, we wanted to table actually someone from SAGE, an environmental group on campus, reached out to us to see if we would be able to table at their climate action night this Friday. We reached out to elections board to see if that would be allowed. And despite like the club actually explicitly inviting us to be there at this event in order to raise awareness, like Evan said, to work towards that 20% turnout, to educate people about things that will affect their time at UCLA, like the climate, accessibility, equity. They still cited that provision saying campaigning isn't allowed in areas reserved for organized activities, despite that space being reserved for the club, despite their explicit invitation to us. And we thought that was a setback in terms of raising awareness and driving civic engagement for the campaign. Now we are asked to follow the same rules as candidates, and we have tried to do so, despite like having the additional challenge of getting 20% turnout. No sanctions yet, thankfully, but in return, like we have received the shorter end of the stick when it comes to like different resources that election board provides candidates, but not to us. Like for example, or like different exposure that we have not had the same ability to take advantage of. For example, here are the signboard assignments. As you can see, all of the 40-something candidates have an assignment on elections walk, but not the referendum, despite us being one of the significant items on the ballot. And also, Elections Board published this official voting guide, but despite saying that this is like, quote, the official ballot that will be voted on by students, they did not include the transit referendum on the ballot. I feel like that's a big part of what people will be going to the polls for, and I think it was an oversight not to include it. So I did reach out to Elections Board to ask them why, and the response I got was that past precedent in the past like few years led them not to include the referendum, and also their belief that they wanted to be a, quote, neutral board. And I guess going back to that previous reasoning of, quote, not giving us an unfair advantage. I want to also, oh yeah, I linked the post in the chat for all of you to scroll through just for your reference. And I also want to share that despite saying precedent was one of the reasons for excluding the transit referendum, and like specifically precedent in the past 2 years, in fact, that has been done before, and simply posting the language, I think, like, or the question that will be posed to students, I think doesn't like really, you know, quote, break any neutrality or give us an unfair advantage. And I think it really does help in terms of getting exposure, giving exposure to us and educating people on what they will be voting for. And I think simply just posting the question shouldn't really violate any like, quote, like being neutral or taking sides in any way, shape, or form. And I want to take issue with the notion that like leaving us out is neutral. If anything, it actually puts us at a disadvantage, especially compared to USAC candidates who get to be listed on this official infographic that they say is the official ballot. You know, we, like, once again, are asked to follow the same rules and regulations as candidates, but we do not like have the same level of exposure or awareness, and we're also not given the same level of resources, especially compared to USAC candidates. So once again, I don't think leaving us like this decision to leave us off the infographic is either adhering to past precedent or really makes the board actually look neutral, as they say in their communication with me. So next I want to like go through some of our concerns with the endorsements process. That has been a big point of discussion between us and the elections board lately. So if you look at some of the early elections slips, you would think that all of these organizations are recommending that all undergraduates go on My UCLA and select no when they get to the transit referendum. So I reached out to elections board and asked them about like what's up with this. And I don't think I reached out. I think it was Lawrence from our team who reached out. But anyway, they said that precedent, like in past USAC elections, they counted no and abstain votes as the same. So like there was no distinction between whether an organization recommended that an organization recommended that people vote no on a referendum versus an organization saying, hey, I am not going to lean one way or another in terms of like this particular referendum, let the students decide. If anything, I think this process like actually misleads voters. Like if you're scrolling through it, you think I'm going to vote no. And it's not really the same as an organization taking a step back and not weighing in on the issue. Recently, the elections board took this into consideration, and they put an abstain option. I think I have some thoughts on the placement of this abstain option. I think this actually might be confusing because this question doesn't ask what your position is on the referendum. It just says do you want to endorse in the referendum, yes or no? And I think the no, if you're a club looking through it, do you want to endorse the referendum? Yes, I want to make an endorsement, or no, I would like to abstain the endorsement. I think that is the more intuitive option. Let's see if I have this proposed, because this is what I imagine would be what the process would be. So the first screen would ask if they want to make an endorsement. Yes, I would like to make an endorsement. If they say yes, they answer the quiz question, and then they pick does the club or organization say vote yes on the referendum, or do they want to tell students to vote no on the referendum? If they want to abstain, they might.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I just want to give you 2 more minutes just because we're on a time caps and special presentations are supposed to be 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. If they want to say no, they would abstain, but we could discuss the exact logistics of what would be the best option for there. But I think another point is that after putting the abstain option, elections board said we would have to go reach out to the organizations that that had previously stated that that filled out the form before the abstain option was added. And I don't think that's fair, especially since it was not our conscious decision to leave out an abstain option, and I don't think it's our responsibility to go in and fix this error. So that was a thought on that. Finally, the debates, just a word on that. I heard they're not being recorded or live streamed. I think others might agree that especially with midterms going on, and especially with accessibility concerns, not recording or live streaming the debates is a disservice, especially with educating voters about what's on the ballot, and also allowing people to work around their schedules and learn about the candidates. So yeah, just some ideas. Reconsider some of the provisions that prevent campaigns from going into classes, and regulating what they can say in classes and club spaces, because I think a lot of professors and student organizations should have jurisdiction over what goes on within their classrooms or meetings. And I think it does hinder our ability to disseminate information to voters, because just saying please vote without providing any information about what's on the ballot isn't really helpful to people who want to learn what's on the ballot. And some more regulations, but I think I'm out of time. So
I appreciate it, Jeff. So I just have a couple comments on this. So I appreciate you bringing all of this to our attention. So you're making the distinction. There are some points where the referendums seem to be judged differently like candidates, and that seems it doesn't make sense personally to me. It's not on the Instagram page. You guys don't get a sign. So I would definitely agree with you on those points. My only thing is that council can't really do much at this point. So what I would recommend is going to the judicial board and filing a case in any of these. Because the judicial board can change the election board's decisions, and they can potentially, get you a spot or make you in the debates, things like that. So I think that would be my number one. That should be your first thing to do, to just change this election cycle. And then for future elections, I would, if we want to change the code, then we can definitely someone can bring that up in a future council meeting, and we can discuss that later. And if Anna is here from the election board who would like to answer anything, I don't know if she's still here. Maybe not.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. So if you want, you can get a couple minutes just to answer.
Like you mentioned, Keon, I know I want to respect the time we have here and for special presentations. I am also an RA and I am on duty tonight. So I might be called, I don't know when, for a duty meet when I would have to hop off the Zoom. And you might hear this talking in the background. It's I just have to keep it on me. But yeah, if anybody has questions, I know I got DM'd some by Juan, so if Juan, you just want to ask those now. I also have my investigations director here, and I can add him as a panelist so he can talk, but yeah, just starting off, I'm here for you guys.
Hi, Juan. Sorry, Eliana. Let's had her hand up first.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Juan. Anyhow, I was just wondering, because I know it sounds like an issue if y'all can't get this information in their classrooms, but like if y'all are concerned about letting people from campaigns do it, could maybe elections board have some staff who could go to like classrooms or dorms or reserved event or spaces where you don't feel comfortable having campaign people go, and they could provide like offer neutral information to students?
No, yeah, for sure. So that's a good idea, and that is something that we did last year, and I'm definitely interested in doing this year. Talking in classrooms, yes, raising awareness for the election. I would just add that there isn't allowed any like election stuff on the Hill in dorms. And we've also tried very hard when it came to like recruiting candidates this season to like advertise. But they weren't really cooperative there, so I'm not sure what we could do about voting. The debates will be on the Hill, so that's easy access tomorrow and the next day for on-campus residents to raise awareness about the election. But yes, we definitely plan on that. We're also coordinating drop-ins with different groups that have either endorsed candidates or are registered with Soul. We're reaching out to them. We're seeing if we can do a quick 5-minute drop-in during their meetings. I think we have like 2 or 3 scheduled right now. Bruin beekeepers. So look forward to seeing you soon. But yes, that's definitely something we're pursuing.
Juan?
So and I'm going to ask the same question over chat, but basically my question then was that the election guidelines talk about kind of like campaign guidance for the candidates themselves, and also provide guidelines for endorsement and endorsement organization, how like what you're not allowed to like provide. I haven't heard that, but it's like we can't provide like that election guideline or like tool to help voter guidance. I think that was that. But it doesn't really like, I don't think there was I saw anything on like a third party organization helping campaign that's not necessarily part of the candidate. So I was wondering if, for example, like CFP, let's say like we really support the transit referenda, would we be able to promote it? Would we be able to campaign for it separately from the referendum people? Or are we just like not allowed to do that? How can we approach this situation of like the referendum themselves can't really talk about it, but other people who are in the election space that are well informed of the referenda, if we would like to campaign for it, is that something that we are able to do?
Yeah, I apologize. I had like a kind of a hard time hearing you from the room. But I have your questions in the chat. So if I can just answer those, hopefully that's what you were talking about. Perfect. Okay, cool. So All right, so correct. Okay, so your first question, it doesn't clarify if other third-party student orgs that are not endorsing allowed to help campaign. No, so and I've promoted my investigations director, who's my expert on the code, Maher. So he can step in if I misspeak, but the code does not allow for other student orgs that have not been given an endorsement slip by us to campaign for a candidate or for a referendum, because we see like active campaigning as like very much endorsing, right? So it's a super easy quiz. They just have to fill out that quiz, they get the slip, and they can do everything provided they follow the code. The caveat to that though, because the code does say that I'm so sorry. Let me finish this thought real quick. The caveat does say that the code does say that offices are not allowed to endorse candidates. Offices can endorse referendum. So sorry, it looks like they went away. I hope that wasn't a resident knocking on my door. But oh my gosh. How do I, sorry, everything's like going off right now. But so yes, offices can endorse referendum, and the office would just have to fill out the endorsements quiz and they would be issued the slip just for the referendum. So you said, can, for example, CSE, who would greatly benefit from the transit referendum, true, send a message to our staff and projects under our commission, information about the referendum. I would have to talk a little bit about the like specifics of what you wanted to do with that endorsement, but I do know that a good start is filling out that quiz. And we can get you that slip, and then yeah, you can strategize more about the endorsement. Yes, Phoebe's right in the chat. The referendum question is super easy.
Thank you. Evan?
Yeah, I guess my most immediate concern for the e-board, and I think that the right needs to be addressed now, is the abstain versus the no on the referendum. I think that if you're a casual viewer and you're just going through your campus endorsement slips, I think it's really hard to not say that that's giving a really unfair advantage to the no campaign. There, there not really is a no campaign. But if you were just looking at that, you would think, wow, all of these organizations have voted no on the transit referendum. I think that when you look at that question and how it's worded, it's, would you feel like want to make an endorsement about the referendum? And I think that if people say no, I think that should qualify as abstain. I think that Jeff has a really good point that it should not fall on the campaign to have to go and like actively pursue and ask other people and say like, can you go back and correct this mistake? It's not a mistake that they made, and it's really misleading. It's not that these people are saying we're voting no on the transit referendum. That's not what they're saying. They're saying that we don't have a position. I think that that really needs to be adjusted within this election cycle. I think that if there's one thing that comes out of this meeting as a top priority, I think it needs to be that. I think we need to have a wider discussion, maybe the newly elected USAC board have this discussion about what the bylaws look like and how can we tweak those for referendum versus for campaign candidates. I think that, the idea that presenting the information about a referendum, if that is biased, then that's like, I don't know how else you could ever get a referendum passed. That's really difficult to do. I think that no worries. With the referenda, I think that it's very difficult to possibly address that without.
Yeah. Remind me what your question was.
My question is, what are the immediate steps we can take right now about that abstaining versus that now? I think that is the most immediate thing. So what is the board going to do to address that, to make that clear, which is not the voters?
Sure. So like Jeff mentioned in his presentation, we went back and forth with Lawrence about the different options and like the wording of the quiz. I just want to start out though that a couple times during the presentation it was mentioned like we're referring to precedent, and that's exactly how we made this endorsements quiz too. Is it was the wording, the questions, the like structure of the questions was like the same as last year's, and last year's referendum never brought this issue to us, so we didn't really see it as an issue. But of course we appreciate this current referendum team's like input, so we did take that input into account. So the quiz now the endorsement quiz, the section for the referendum. The question now is, would you like to offer an endorsement for a referendum? And the three choices are, yes, my organization supports the referendum. No, my organization does not support this referendum. And the third is abstain. So that kind of, I think, brought it a little closer to what Jeff mentioned as like hypothetical questions that the quiz could pose. So we did take that input into account and we reframed that question. And then like it does for a candidate's endorsement, it goes into like the specific question about the referendum content. And then the last question is, which referendum would you like to endorse? And the option is the Universal Access Transit Pass. So we did switch up the wording a little bit. Okay, cool. We did switch up the wording a little bit, and hopefully that does provide some clarity for any clubs that are filling out this quiz in the future.
Can I make a quick comment on this? That's okay.
Yeah, please click.
Yes, if anything, I think that makes it more unfair. It's the fact that we've gone through, we added that abstain option, that makes it look like the people who have voted no in the past, who are really just abstaining, these organizations that are not taking a stance on the transit referendum. The fact that we now have that abstain option, it makes it look like that historically in the previous groups before that option was ever there, are voting no, and they're actively voting no on that transit referendum. So I think that it really needs to be retroactively addressed, the forms that were in the past that didn't have those tweaks, because if not, it really is not an accurate standing of what those organizations, what their stance are. It's not an accurate reflection of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only thing is that council doesn't have any authority over this, but I would really recommend, Jeff, that you would go to the J board because I believe that they would be able to do this. So make a case, you could go into the USAC website, go into judicial board, and then they have how to make a case against it, and then they would hear you out. All right, Phoebe.
Yeah, just a second, one more time. Yeah, if there's a way for, it to be like resolved like without needing a J board slip, like that'd be cool. But like also no worries, like I'm sure like the referendum team like will try to make time to like fill it out if that needs to happen to get this through. But I also agree there seems to be like a little bit of a misinformation effect with like the wording on abstain and stuff. And you can see like all of the different candidates. Like it's not like there's a no for president or like a vote no on whoever, so that's like kind of what I feel about that. But in terms of like kind of some of the other things that were mentioned, I was curious about like the lack of live streaming or recording of the debates this year, because I feel like, I don't know, that seems like it's a norm nowadays to have that happen. That's the first question. And the second question is about the Sage Climate Action Night. I know that like just like reading the email on like the slideshow, it says like you're not allowed to do it for like organized activities. The way I interpret that is like, like you don't want to impede on somebody else's organized activities, but like, like you're supposed to, like Sage is like asking them to go. So I feel like that's fine. Like that is like, they are the organized activity or at least part of it. So, and just like to mention, like Sage Climate Action Night is like an event that they do each year on the Hill where they have a bunch of policy measures at like the California like state assembly or like Senate bills and like I think like some federal bills too. So it makes sense to me that, a referendum item would be presented there too, because that event in and of itself is like bringing policy initiatives to students' awareness. So if that's still something that can be like rectified, that like the referendum can be there for that event this Friday, I think that'd be cool. Oh, Broome Plaza, lol. But like, I don't know. I think that'd be a really exciting addition to the event to have people like aware of like the referendum or like USAC or whatever. But yeah, those were just my thoughts.
Thank you. Anna, would you like to respond to this?
Sure. So a couple points you touched on here. So the first one being the debates, correct? Live streaming. Yeah. So we decided so we decided against live streaming because of like how many issues we had with it last year. And we felt like we were doing a disservice to the audience members and the candidates that had like given their time to like be there. And it just made things really choppy, you know. And I think, like, you know, with the nature of last year's elections, like, we really wanted like as little as possible, like, causing other stuff with us. So that's one reason why we decided against it. Another reason is for voter turnout. We think that, you know, only offering an in-person option is going to do a couple things. One, it's going to incentivize people to attend, whereas they would have just stayed home, and they wouldn't have been able to achieve this next point, which is interacting with the candidates that they're going to vote for. If we were to offer a live stream option, it would be that attendees could just watch. They couldn't comment. We kind of did that for like safety and like security issues too. Like, we didn't want attendees to be able to like say whatever they want in like a chat or something like that, because we couldn't regulate that in real time. And it also gives in-person attendees the chance to, you know, talk to the people that they're going to be voting for. And so that's just those are just a couple factors that went into our decision. This was something, you know, I talked about with my team. I talked about with Res Life, with program event management, PM on the Hill. So yeah, that's just kind of what it went into our decision. We look forward to seeing you guys Wednesday and Thursday if you're coming. The second point was about the tabling at the event. Is that correct? Okay. Yes. So our code does say, like it was shown on the screen, that candidates or referenda, or there can't be any campaigning during other organized events that have a different purpose. I'm glad that that event wanted to invite you. I love to see that spirit of, you know, cooperation and advocacy on each other's part. I think at this point, though, our position as a board is interpreting the code to mean what it says, because you know, I think we learned a lot from last year. And one of the biggest things I took away from last year's election was that, you know, we have a code for a reason and we need to use it. So I'm not really excuse me, the president is calling. I'm not really in the habit right now to interpret the code loosely, or I think another thing that went into our decision is, okay, if we allow a referenda to table, are we going to allow a candidate? And that obviously is no. So that's some factors that went into our decision. And remind me if you had more things you wanted me to touch on.
I guess the other thing that I mentioned at the beginning, even though we kind of already talked about this, so I don't know if there's a resolution to it, but like, I guess like there really does seem like a discrepancy to me, like between like on the endorsement slips, because like you'll see like a blank space by all of these different candidates, like president, nothing. But then like all of a sudden like referendum, no. And I feel like, you know, that lack of like, okay, like a space for like, oh, like they don't have an opinion. Like, I feel like that does matter. And I feel like that is something we should probably like resolve like soon. I don't know if like it is possible. Like, it'd be great, I guess, if we could like have like eBoard like reach out to those other orgs just to clarify whether they mean like, no, I don't want people to vote. Like, I want people to vote no for this, or like, you know, they don't have an opinion on how people should vote. Cause I feel like that like is like a piece of misinformation that like we don't want to like promote out there. So
Sure.
yeah.
So from now on, you know, since we're including the abstain option, like a candidate, like an org would be endorsing a candidate, if they choose not to fill out anything for the office, it's just left as blank. So if an org selects to abstain from endorsing the referendum, that'll just be left as blank, and then yes or no is where it's going to be indicated. As far as following up with past endorsements, a couple things there, and this is something I actually discussed with Lawrence from the referendum team over the phone, which he didn't really seem to object to, was you know, obviously instituting the change with the compromise that we had with the revised form. We are not in the position with the voting week coming up, with debates tomorrow, to be going back and following up with those individual orgs. You know, this is something I talked about, excuse me. Okay, cool. This is something I talked about during orientation. I'm so sorry. I am gonna have to leave in a couple minutes for a duty meet. So this might be my last question, but like I was saying, yeah, like I talked about during, sorry guys, there's like a million things happening right now. Like I talked about during orientation, you know, we're people first, and then we're students, and then we do this. And just between my team, I don't think that we have the bandwidth to go back and pursue that. And our compromise with that is we're more than willing to revisit those, sorry, someone else is calling me. This is so crazy. We're more than willing to revisit those slips if the org comes to us and says, hey, we want to revise this to an abstain, or we want to revise this to a yes. We will work with that org. We're not just in the position right now to track all those down, but if they approach us, we are more than willing to talk. I have to go.
And one last thing, when is your office hour?
That's on our website. I have to go. Maher is going to go with me. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you so much for taking a look at our ballot. Any more questions, you guys can swing by our office hours, come to the debates. We'll love to see you there. And thank you guys so much for taking the time.
Thank you. And I think with her gone, I would just recommend anyone who has more questions to go to her office hour. I think that would be the best solution in this, unless someone, because I don't see anything that us as a council can fix. So either go to the J board so they can like pull back that or help with those, or go to her office hour and try to find a compromise. Is there anything else on this?
No, thanks for the space here, Kian. Yeah. I think it was helpful just to like at least have like council members like aware of these things, especially like in case like some of us are like working for folks' offices next year. This might get brought up again, likely. But yeah, we'll definitely take more of those concerns to J board.
Yeah, of course. I had no clue about any of this either, and then maybe us as a council can look at changing the election board within our next 2 meetings. So we'll definitely look at that. So if that's it, and there's nothing for new business, I adjourn this meeting at 8:40. Anyone want to do good and welfare?
Sure, I'm down. No, Juan's not doing it. Okay,
Juan's done. How you doing, Phoebe?
Okay, I'm doing well. Maybe we can wait till the live shuts off.
Oh, who shuts that down?
I think Megan can do it.
Megan, can you shut that down?
I am. Yes, I can.